In the first house, very strong dynamic of relationships seeking. If you have moons placed in the first house, because this is in Kendra house, not not saying that it's a bad placement. That depends on the sign, on the ascendant too, and where is the Lord's placed. But let's just focus only with the moon. No aspect, no trine aspect or anything. It's only by where the moon is placed, by house, not by sign, only by house placement. So the moon in the first house, which represents yourself, your body, your identity as a self, it's always looking. The seventh aspect goes to the seventh house, which is the house of partnership, relationship, whatever that is represents relationship of all kind, personal, professional, but it's more of like a dynamic of between both. But the moon will always have that tendency to crave and that energies of the seventh house because it's looking at the seventh house. So the mind is always focused on trying to have an ideal of what is relationship for you if you have this moon placement in the first house. Of course, it will be depends on what is the sign. But these energies of the moon in the first house is always bringing about a theme of one thing to be involved in relationship. So if someone trying to be detached from relationship and you having moons in here, that can be extremely difficult because the moon is always just looking at the seventh house. And if you have this placement and you have relationship problem with your girlfriends or boyfriend, wife or husband, and it got to the point where that tension is bringing so much pressure that wants both of you and your partner to be separated, and you will be the persons that saying, I can't live without you. And that's what happened when you have displacements of the moon. So it does create a tendency to be attached to this idea. Is it a good placement? Yes, because it is in Kendra. It is in Kendra. The moon is very comfortable in Kendra. In first house, fourth house, seventh house. Those are Kendra's houses. And the 10. But we're talking about the moon here. And what is the moon? The moon is the mind. The moon is the emotional needs, the emotional natures of someone, of a mother, because the moon is also represents the mother, is the feminine part of energy, and that's what the moon is. Now when you have this placement of moon in the first house, your focus will be solely, mostly in having those ideas of fulfilling that desires of your mind to have certain ideas of relationship. This especially can be true if you're running the Mahadasha itself of the moon, or the antardashas of the moon. So the mind becomes so active that wants to be involved with that, with the partnership. Now, of course, it can be really different if the sign is on a certain sign. But okay, let's say the moon in the first house in the sign of Aries. Again, that really gives a strong indicator of relationships seeking. The mind is always constantly moving, and that sign of Aries is just making things even more difficult. Why? Because this is fire, and it boils out the moon itself. What is the moon? Moon is the water, and that water is being boiled, so you feel like so much pressure to release that gas of evaporations from the water that has been boiled. So this is the moon in the first house. And what I'm explaining to you before is the sign, if the sign is false in Aries sign. Well, that's it. If you have this placement of the moon, then this is it. This is what it is. So be gentle with yourself. It's fine to have that desire to have a relationship, because after all, that's what you want in the end of this placement. But it's not going to come easy to you, because that's the challenge. That also depends though on the where is the nakshatra, where is the moon falls, and what is sign. But it's, of course, it's only just the house.